Good morning, everyone. It is 6:30 here on this Tuesday morning. I'm Angie Gonzalez.
I'm meteorologist Joe Thompson, filling in for John, a little under the weather again today.
Yes, and we do have some kids that are going to be home a little bit longer today, mostly 2-hour delays this morning, though I know we do have one closure. Sandusky City Schools closed again today because of the cold weather. But real quickly, again, want to warn you about this Amber Alert. You need to keep your eyes peeled this morning because officials out of Delaware are reaching out to folks here in Ohio. They are searching for the little girl you see on the left-hand part of your screen right now, 3-year-old Eleanor Trotta. Officials say that Eleanor's father, Michael, abducted his daughter during an assault on her mother. Now, if you see either of them, you're asked to call 911 immediately, but the pair are believed to be heading here again to Ohio in a 1989 gray Mazda 626 with Delaware license plate number 247450. Again, if you see either of them or that vehicle, you're asked to call 911 immediately. And of course, with the frigid temperatures, if you're feeling any sort of numbness or any sort of tingling in your face, you're going to want to go back inside immediately because we've been talking about it all morning, the risk of hypothermia, a real danger.
Yeah, unfortunately, it did turn fatal here earlier this week. So that's why we do say dangerous. We're not just saying that to overhype it or anything like that. It really is. It just takes a couple minutes for hypothermia to set in. So do have to take this cold seriously. Limit your times outdoors as much as possible. And if you do have to be outside, certainly layer up and cover up all that skin as much as you can. Temperatures right now in most locations are in the negative territory. Just a few places at or a little bit above zero, mainly across southeast Michigan. Holland at 0. We're at 1 below in downtown Toledo. Archbold also 1 below. Defiance checking in at 5 below zero. Same temperature for Fostoria and Upper Sandusky at 6 below zero. If you go downriver to Sandusky, it's 2 below zero. At this hour, there is a little bit of a breeze out of the southwest. We've seeing these numbers get up to 10, 15 miles per hour every now and then, maybe not a constant wind, at least not yet. That'll happen later today. The breezes will become much steadier, but off and on breeze this morning is knocking those wind chills down anywhere from 15 to 25 below zero. And that's why we do have a wind chill advisory in effect for all of our counties except Lenawee and Monroe counties, though even those locations are seeing double-digit sub-zero wind chills. That wind chill advisory in effect until noon today. So we'll start to maybe see some slight improvements later this afternoon, but even then we're still talking single-digit wind chills, so we're not getting any break from the cold today, and we're really not getting any break from the cold for the rest of the week. And we also have some snow to talk about as well, and we'll do just that. My full forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Angie?
All right. Thanks so much, Joe. And as Joe and I were mentioning at the top of the show, of course, the frigid cold, for anyone who has to be out in it, even briefly, there's that concern for hypothermia. And NBC24's Jim Nelson has more on the very real risks associated with the dangerous cold and, again, how it may have even contributed to the death of a local man over the weekend.
With temps in single digits, the concern for hypothermia as a result of exposure becomes very real.
There's definitely a point of no return. When you get frostbite, ice crystals form in your vessels, and it causes what's called an ischemic injury. Basically prevents the blood supply to get to the distal parts of your finger, the far ends of your fingers. And that once they're frozen in there and the blood supply gets compromised, you only get 5 minutes or so for the tissue to survive. Beyond that 5 minutes, the tissues will die.
Emergency physician Aaron Rinto at ProMedica Flower Hospital says we are all susceptible to frostbite and hypothermia, but there are contributing factors.
Occasionally we'll get somebody who's inebriated, intoxicated either with drugs or alcohol, and they don't realize that they've put themselves in a dangerous situation.
This weekend, the dead body of 35-year-old Paul Stieber was found behind Lowe's Home Improvement Store on Airport Highway in Toledo. The official cause of death is pending, but it is thought to be an accidental death. Stieber was reportedly last seen across Airport Highway at a local bar. Meanwhile, less than a mile down the road, Russell Smith is on foot himself, dressed warm but with a hint of worry about being exposed to the cold.
A little bit I am, but then again, sometimes I'm not,
Smith does on occasion take the bus or find a ride, but in those situations when he does have to walk, he's sure to dress for the part.
I got to keep myself nice and warm. I like to be warm.
As simple as it sounds, that, Dr. Rinto says, is the biggest key to staying out of the ER. Jim Nelson, NBC 24 News.
Meanwhile, we've now learned a man whose body was found on the frozen Maumee River over the weekend actually committed suicide. The Lucas County coroner says that 36-year-old Michael Bajarski jumped to his death from the Craig Memorial Bridge on Saturday night. And now to a developing story. A local conservative group is asking people who they think should be Toledo's next mayor. And now the group's survey is drawing some criticism. The survey is being conducted by the Northwest Ohio Conservative Coalition. And right now on their website, they provide a list of local politicians and a questionnaire to voters on who they would choose to lead the city. The coalition also recently made phone calls asking the same question. And a campaign staffer for the late mayor, D. Michael Collins, calls the survey ill-timed and insensitive.
You don't do a survey like this, 10 days after, we buried a mayor.
We have to move forward, but we want to move forward in a responsible, respectable manner, and I believe that we've been able to accomplish that.
Now, a few of the names on the list include current Toledo Mayor Paula Hicks Hudson, former Toledo Mayor Mike Bell, and Councilman Tom Winooski. Right now, no one has publicly announced plans to run in this November's mayoral election. New this morning, an NBC 24 exclusive follow-up on an Ohio State Highway Patrol trooper who was seriously injured last March in a deadly pileup along the Ohio Turnpike. Later today, he's going to return to the road for the first time in 11 months. When Trooper Andrew Klauser sat down with NBC 24 last month, he said that he wanted to be back on the road before March the 12th of this year, the one-year anniversary when he was critically injured after essentially being hit by a truck and then becoming pinned between two vehicles near the Ohio State Highway Patrol's Milan post. He suffered 5 broken ribs, a punctured lung, a liver damage, a ruptured spleen, and his leg was broken in 2 places. But yesterday, he was given the all clear to return to the road. Well, happening right now, a big winter storm hit parts of the deep south and northeast part of the U.S. on Monday, and more nasty weather is on the way in the south. Ed Payne reports.
Overpasses were icy in Dallas.
I just kind of took the safest road where there was no traffic, no slopes and everything like that, because I know that once, your car gets out of control, you cannot control it.
There's a path that the cars have made, and I just kind of followed those paths.
An 18-wheeler ended up dangling off the side of an elevated section of I-45. In the Amarillo area, slick roads and low visibility led to this nearly 40-vehicle pileup on I-40. Texas was hardly alone. In upstate New York, a section of the thruway in the Syracuse area was shut down for hours. It's believed whiteout conditions contributed to a series of crashes that included several tractor-trailers. Back in Texas, an American Airlines plane carrying 68 people veered off a taxiway at Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport. No one was hurt. As of Monday night, more than half of the arriving and departing flights from DFW had been canceled. And police weren't the only ones rescuing drivers stranded around Dallas. Members of a Jeep club decided to put their off-road vehicles to use, helping others.
Not very many people do it these days, and it's kind of one of those deals where you just want to get out and help random people.
He helped me real good. I mean, that's what good neighbors, I call him a good neighbor. I mean, you see I'm smiling?
I'm Ed Payne reporting.
Now, according to a CNN meteorologist, Jennifer Gray, many of the same areas in the south that were hit on Sunday and Monday are going to be hit by a new storm that's scheduled to come through on Wednesday into Thursday. On to the NBC 24 Street Beat now, as 2 brothers serving time for multiple murders here in the Glass City stirred up some controversy on Monday. Yesterday, Anthony Cook, who was serving a life sentence for the conviction of 2 murders and the confession to several others, was in court, and he faced a judge for a parole hearing. This is for the first time in over 20 years, but his parole was denied. Meanwhile, his brother Nathaniel Cook is scheduled to be released from prison within the next 10 years. He was convicted of 1 murder, but then confessed to 2 more. Anthony Cook is scheduled to get another parole hearing, but not until 2025. Happening right now across America, time is ticking for lawmakers to approve funding for the Department of Homeland Security. A Senate vote last night failed to advance a bill that would fund the department, but with strings attached. A bill passed earlier by the House would also curtail President Obama's executive actions regarding immigration. In a 47-46 vote, Democrats in the Senate president managed to block consideration of the bill. Current funding for the department runs out on Friday. The time is now 6:40 here on this Tuesday morning. Still to come here on NBC 24 today. After going missing for nearly 2 months, we are now learning more about just how Canine Officer Carson was finally brought home. We're going to have the details next.
And it's very cold but dry for our Tuesday morning as we take a look at triple Doppler radar. Our sweeps are clear for now, but we are expecting some snow a little bit later today. I'll let you know if it'll cause any problems in my forecast coming up right after the break.
Welcome to the Dodge political race, and they're off. Washington's in the lead, the father of our country as a mother of it.